Welcome to the Big Picture Retirement Show, where you'll learn what it really takes to have a successful retirement. With over 20 years of experience, your host, Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has seen it all and is here to help you achieve your retirement dreams. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Welcome into the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us. Rick is a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, along with Reed Abedin and Eddie Soda. You can find out more about them by going to the website, safeguardinvestment.com. A lot of great information there. Safeguardinvestment.com to find out more about Rick and the team, but you can also find out about upcoming events. If you have questions, can I retire? Well, when can I retire? Do I have enough? All those questions and concerns we have, 800-700-1980. No cost for this, no obligation at all, 800-700-1980. All right, Rick, we're going to talk a little bit today on the show really about, I think, kind of the mental side of retirement, kind of how we look at things. It should be kind of fun, don't you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about that.
You know, one of the challenges is what we hope our retirement will be and then what it actually looks like. Fewer than 1 in 4 Americans think their current retirement lifestyle aligns with what they planned for their retirement to actually be. So we've got some sound. This is from Dr. David Eckert. He taught aging and retirement at the University of Kansas for 44 years. Then he retired. And he wrote about his transition into retirement in the Wall Street Journal. And we got some sound from him today we're going to hear. But he admitted that while it's one thing to know intellectually what happens with retirement, living through it is another thing altogether.
In my case, I was a professor and I had to teach these classes and I had to attend these meetings and, in other words, meet these time commitments. But really, the relaxation came from taking pressure off of myself. In order to have, as many people do, a successful career, you put pressure on yourself to attempt things and try things and learn things and go for opportunities. And when I no longer had to do that, that was the thing that really, really relaxed me. It doesn't matter now what time in the morning I start my walk or what time in the afternoon I decide to finish the crossword puzzle. Time is much less a pressing thing for me.
You know, Rick, as a college professor for over 40 years, it's not like it was an 8-to-5 schedule when you're a professor. So his day-to-day was different, I'm sure, than when now his retirement says, I don't really have to worry about time much. But you still have clients at Safeguard, I'm sure, that get up and make sure they start the day early, might exercise, do whatever. Everybody looks at this probably a little different. I kind of like the professor's way of looking at this that, hey, time doesn't really matter as much anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I have clients that once they retire, they kind of mimic what the professor was saying, where they're like, hey, listen, you know what? It's nice not to have to get up early in the morning and deal with the freeways, especially, here in California, we got these freeways early in the morning and in the evenings, and they can do things that, based on their own schedule. And then, I have other clients that they kind of like having a little bit of that discipline of still getting up early in the morning, but now it's refocus. Instead of having to go to work, maybe they go and they do their workouts early in the morning and have maybe they, volunteer someplace and they have a routine or a hobby or something that they enjoy. So they still kind of stay busy and still have the discipline, but now it's just focused in a different area. So, everybody is different when it comes to that for sure.
So Rick, then now that I'm almost 64, do you think that maybe when I retire, I would exercise because I have more free time? I mean, I play golf. That's got to be good. I know you're going to be playing
golf. That's going to be your exercise. I know for a fact you'd be doing the golf thing. Yeah. Worst case scenario, at least hitting the balls on the range.
Exactly. So Dr. Eckert says that transition into all that free time, though, can really create some conflicted feelings for retirees. He says he's experienced that internal conflict as well.
As I put it, I have 2 angels on my shoulder. One angel whispers in my ear, relax, take it easy. The other angel whispers in my ear, shouldn't you be doing something right now?
How about that one? Do you get much of that? I mean, it's kind of, I get that. I think when you've worked for over 40 years that, I don't really have anything to do. Surely I've got something I need to be doing right now.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that goes back to kind of what I was saying. Everybody's different. Some people are enjoying, just relaxing and just being able to do things at their own pace. And then you have others that say, hey, shouldn't I be doing something right now? So then they stick to a different discipline. So it's going back to, hey, maybe a hobby or belonging to some sort of organization, or maybe they're going to focus more time with the family. And in some cases, I've had clients that, they retired, and, a year into it, I ask them, they go, how's retirement going? And, they'll tell me, Rick, you know what? I'm busier now than when I was working, because now maybe they're spending more time with the grandkids and they're doing some of the heavy lifting when it comes to the grandkids or family members that they weren't doing before. So the work that they were putting into their own jobs and everything, now they got a full-time job babysitting, taking grandkids to soccer games or baseball games or what have you, or spending more time with the church. So, it can go like a million different directions.
You need income to be able to retire. There's no question. But it's also about the mental side. How do you look at things? Does your stress level go down? Does your stress level go up? Boy, what if my money's going to last as long as I'm needed to? Or do I have enough? All those concerns we have. Talk with Rick and the team. And Rick and the team have put together a toolkit. All you have to do is text the word toolkit to 951-667-4969. Text the word toolkit to 951-667-4969, and they will send you some retirement guides talking about different areas of retirement. Also, Reed did a webinar, and it's about 30 minutes. You will get that as well. So you get retirement guides and Reed's webinar talking about how the process works at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, kind of give you some insight into retirement. So a great thing to do, I think, if you're 3, 5, 7 years out from retirement, to get this toolkit to give you some ideas about retirement. The retirement guides and the webinar. Text the word toolkit, 951-667-4969. No cost to you. 951-667-4969. So, you think about what you do for your clients at Safeguard. I think from the outside, people would say, well, do I really need to talk with Rick about, how I'm going to spend my time? But that is something you need to know about, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, here's the thing about talking with someone that actually specializes in working with individuals, with retirees, because there's all different types of advisors out there. And there's some advisors that'll invest your money and say, okay, great, we'll, do this proper allocation, blah, blah, blah. But they don't necessarily specialize in retirement. And because we specialize in this area, based upon what you want to do in retirement, we can also advise you, like you're talking about the mental aspects. We can say, hey, here are things that our own clients have experienced. Here are things that our own clients have gone through. So we can share ideas, experiences that they've gone through. So that way you can take them into consideration for your own personal scenario. So you're kind of like not getting hit with surprises with things. It's kind of like the scenario where, I don't know I don't know if this is the best way to explain it, but it's kind of like the scenario where, I don't know if you ever, thought back and you're like, dang, if I only known this when I was, if I knew what I knew at 24, or if I only known, if I know now what I knew back then or whatever. It's one of those scenarios because we deal with retirees and we see all the different scenarios that they go through and we see all the experiences that they go through. When we're sitting down with you, and you say, hey, here's my goals, here's my objectives, here's what I'm trying to do, we can say, hey, you know what? Here are some things that you also may want to consider when it comes to your retirement planning. So this way, if you decide, hey, this is something that I should be taking into consideration, or you might say, hey, this is some good information that maybe I'm glad to know about, but it's not pertinent to me right now. But bottom line, we can actually put somebody in a scenario where we minimize the surprises that you're going to get in retirement. And the other thing, too, is that we are also aware that whatever plan we have in place, whatever goals or expectations you have for yourself in retirement, we know that once you do retire, a year, 2 years in, those things may change because you may have gone into retirement thinking one thing, and then all of a sudden, now that you're retired, and you thought, hey, I was going to be golfing every day. I was going to do fishing, this and that and the other. You may decide, hey, wait a minute, hold on. You know what? There's only so much golf I can do. There's only so much fishing I can do. Maybe this is where I was saying earlier, maybe I want to, take up a hobby or maybe get a part-time job. And I've had clients kind of change up the game a little bit once reality actually hits.
When you think your question you posed, boy, do you ever think back, what if I knew then what I know now? I had an advisor that was a family friend, and at 24, I got married. And he said, you know what, you guys should put $50 just in an account and just put it in the market and just don't worry about it. So if I'd have done $50 a month for 40 years, at $600 a year times 40 would be $24,000. Compound interest, I'm thinking I would have way more than 24 grand sitting there. Heck, I might even be able to retire at this point. But there's no question. We go back to kind of what we could have done. There's nothing we can do at this point. Now it's about, okay, are we able to retire? Rick and the team are here to help. What goes into a strategy to really help turn someone's ideas and dreams about retirement into a reality? Sometimes you probably can. Sometimes maybe you have to tweak it a little bit. Just depends.
Yeah. We have to be realistic. So once we sit down with someone based upon what they want to do in retirement, they may say, hey, Rick, I want to travel, a couple of times a year. Sometimes it's just domestically, sometimes it's internationally, whatever the case is, or, play golf or spend more time with the grandkids, whatever their scenario is. What we have to do is we have to diagram it. And, obviously income comes into play, expenses come into play, inflation, taxes, their pensions, Social Security, healthcare costs. I mean, the list goes on and on. But once we sit down with you and we understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish, we'll be able to set up a game plan for you, diagram a plan that addresses it. We can also let you know if your expectations are even realistic. Is there some areas that you may need to compromise on, based upon your objectives? So we'll definitely keep it real with you. And then, of course, when we are setting up these plans and designing the retirement plan for the individual, we already know there's a possibility that as time goes on, they may need to change it up or their situation may change. And we may need to, because somebody might say, hey, listen, Rick, I really don't plan on traveling. I don't plan on doing this and that and the other. And then once they retire, all of a sudden, some of their friends start traveling. They get the bug. They want to start traveling. So we may have to be able to change up the game. So we have to, whatever plan we design, we have to make sure that it's malleable, that if they do adjust their retirement planning down the road, we have some room to adjust along with them. And that's how we design these plans.
Yeah, so the big picture blueprint, if you will, that Rick and the team create for their clients, and not with, because the clients have a lot to say about what they're going to do and how they're going to spend their time in retirement, obviously. So this plan, this blueprint is built alongside of you, not just you give them the numbers and they go put it together and say, here you go, good luck to you. That's not how it works. Rick and the team are with you through retirement as well. Income, investment, taxes, healthcare, long-term care, legacy planning, Social Security, Medicare decisions. It's all in the big picture blueprint. If you'd like to talk with Rick, go, wow, I don't think I have all of that. I think I've got enough right now. I hope I've got enough, but I don't know. Perfect time to talk with the team at Safeguard Investment Advisor Group. 800-700-1980, complimentary, no cost to you. 800-700-1980. I think one of the great opportunities you have is to find out where you are, get some clarity in your retirement picture, and it's real easy. Done with a phone call, 15, 30-minute chat with the team. 800-700-1980. We're going to continue with Rick Rivera right here on the Big Picture Retirement Show right after this quick timeout.
You're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. For more information about Rick and the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group team, go to safeguardinvestment.com. While you're there, you can also download educational retirement guides and sign up for an upcoming seminar. That's safeguardinvestment.com. Now, back to the podcast.
Welcome back to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. Rick, a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisor Group. You can always go to the website to learn more, safeguardinvestment.com. You have questions, 800-700-1980. Can I retire? Well, when can I retire? Do I have enough? All those concerns we have, 800-700-1980. I'm Mark Elliott. We're talking about a professor at the University of Kansas, and he taught aging and retirement for over 40 years at the University of Kansas. Then he retired, and he wrote an article about it in the Wall Street Journal. And we have some sound bites from him because he says one of the many factors we have to consider when it comes to retirement is not only how we will spend our own time in retirement, but what about if we have a spouse who is retiring with us?
I married him for better or worse, but not for lunch.
In that one, I think you can take it a lot of different ways. The way I look at it is he's saying, look, we don't have to spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with our spouse. Some people can't wait to do that, get an RV, travel the country. Others go, I'm going to go play golf. Why don't you go do some things with your girlfriends and we'll meet back, that kind of thing. Everybody's situation's a little unique in that part, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess, for some people, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yeah, I have certain clients that they have different hobbies. The husband may have golf buddies that he goes and spend time and does his golfing thing, and maybe goes on hunting trips with his boys and will be gone for a week or even a month. Goes fishing in Alaska. The wife may have her girlfriends that they do their thing and maybe even take trips together. And then, of course, we have clients that, they spend most of their time together, with the grandkids or just traveling. Maybe they have an RV and they travel the country together and they enjoy doing that. So, yeah, everybody's situation is different. And people, and again, even husband and wife, when we're sitting down with them, and this is the interesting thing. When I'm first making plans for husband and wife and we're sitting down, sometimes prior to retirement, they have two different thoughts as to what they think the retirement should be. They thought they were on the same page, but then once we start getting into dialogue and start talking, one is like, wait a minute, I thought we were going to do this. And the other one's like, well, I thought that we were going to do that. And so when we do this planning, this kind of helps to bring that all out. And make sure that when we are going into retirement planning, we're all on the same page going forward.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. It's also kind of what Dr. Eckert talked about. He says in his research of how people act in retirement and how they adapt to retirement, he found that there really aren't going to be any serious effects on your marriage. There's going to be adjustments to make, but these changes won't actually threaten your marriage.
People really actually look forward to retirement as a time that they can finally spend together after decades of raising children and marching off to work. Now they can enjoy one another's together and engage in activities that they would like to explore.
So you and your wife, Shauna, you're a scuba diver. You like to scuba dive. Does she scuba dive with you?
No, actually she doesn't. But what happens is when we take trips together,
she makes sure the boat stays there and doesn't leave you.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'll maybe I'll go and scuba dive, but then I'll come back and then, we're spending the rest of the trip together, or maybe there's a particular event that she wants to do that I'm really not into, but then maybe she'll go do that particular event and then we'll come back and then we'll, spend the rest of the day together. For probably 75% of the trip, 80% of the trip, we're doing it all together. But there might be little things here and there that we may do separately. But for most of the trip, we do it together. But again, it's one of these scenarios where everybody's different. Everybody has, different situations. But for us, we definitely do 80% of the stuff together.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, you have the opportunity, if you'd like some retirement guides and Reed's webinar, it's about 30 minutes. And the team at Safeguard will just send this right to you. The toolkit includes the retirement guides and the webinar. All you have to do is text the word toolkit to 951-667-4969. Kind of give you an idea of what to expect in retirement. Just give you some heads up, if you will. Just text the word toolkit to 951-667-4969. So, Rick, you were just talking about this. The communication factor, I wonder how many times people come in and they do have different outlooks on what they think retirement's going to look like for them. I would think probably a higher percentage of time they're on the same page, but there's got to be the percentage you were talking about where they had different ideas. Well, I thought we were going to do this. I thought we were going to do that. How often? Does it play out? Do you have a percentage for me?
I would say probably around 20, 30% of the time, people will come in and for whatever reason, the spouse was assuming one thing, husband was assuming another. And then, they're going back and forth. Believe it or not, even when it comes to, the investments, I'll sit down and, we're talking about goals and objectives regarding the investments. And one spouse is much more aggressive. The other one is much more conservative. And now we're trying to set up a plan that creates that kind of happy medium, a compromise that they both can live with and fits both their situation. So almost sometimes when we're sitting down with individuals, I feel almost like a counselor or you know,
Do you charge extra for that?
I know. Yeah, maybe I should, you know, but but again, since I see it so often, this is the part where I can then start sharing ideas that I've seen other clients go through that are very similar to their situation. And I can say, here's how these clients have handled this similar situation. Here's a couple of different ways we can do this. And now we're having dialogue. It's brought out into the open, and where they're learning from other people's experiences rather than getting, you know, hit by surprise when they are in retirement, and we're addressing it. So that's why it's so much more than just the investments. It's really sitting down with the individuals and having good, clear communication so there are no surprises.
Yeah, it's about income, but it's also about lifestyle. What are you going to do? How are you going to spend your time? 800-700-1980 is the number to chat with Rick and the team at Safeguard. There's no cost to you. 800-700-1980. And the one thing you say, if they give you a call, anybody that's listening wants to talk to you about their retirement picture and get that big picture blueprint, you always say you got some guarantees for them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I tell you what, give me 40, you can talk to me directly, speak to me directly, and give me 45 minutes. I've been doing this long enough. I know exactly what questions to ask, and give me 45 minutes. And within 45 minutes, I'll give you at least 2 ideas that will enhance whatever it is that you're doing. It'll cost you nothing to do.
How about that? Guaranteed. 2 ideas that will enhance whatever it is you're currently doing, that will enhance what you are currently doing. That's a great opportunity for you. All you have to do is pick up the phone. This is a great opportunity, I think. Whether you become a client of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group or not, it's your opportunity to get a little bit of clarity into your retirement picture. Maybe you've already won the game. You don't even need Rick and the team. You could retire, but you don't know it because you're a little fearful. I haven't really thought all this through. Haven't sat down with a retirement planning team like Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. This is your opportunity. Maybe it's just a tweak here or there that can make a big difference. So it's a great opportunity for you, I think, to chat with Rick and the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. Again, it's 800-700-1980. Totally complimentary. There's no obligation. There's no pressure. 800-700-1980. Take advantage of this opportunity. I think it's fantastic. It's priceless, as the old MasterCard used to say. 800-700-1980. Rick, as always, enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. We'll do it again next week.
Great. Thank you so much, Mark.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC.